I've recently kind of understood that we're here to poke the bear a little bit and say it's okay to talk about these topics that are often taboo when a family business hasn't taken the time to really think about these things. So when I come across a family for the first time, I try to get to know them a little bit and understand what's going on and share some examples of other stories. And these light bulbs go off and they just say, oh, this is what we need. And I think that's what can be replicated in other communities. There's a ton across of people around that are going through similar but different issues that can talk through, how they've been successful and where they've found hiccups. And a lot of communities have third, fourth, fifth generation family businesses that have done this a couple times and have probably struggled through some of these areas. And sometimes we learn more from the struggle and, the missteps of others. And again, most people are really willing to share this information.
Interesting, Jon, when you talk about kind of who initiates or who pokes the bear, I'm thinking about economic and community development people out there, as well as, business support professionals. Do you have any suggestions for how to bring this up, poke the bear without anyone getting hurt and get these conversations going?
Yeah, so there's a couple things. One is to bring somebody in that's a neutral third party. So we don't do family business advising in our program, but I have a list of people that do that work. And so sometimes somebody needs help and they call, and I try to put them in touch with people that they likely don't know, that comes in as neutral. So to have, mom or dad have their key advisor that's been along with them for 35 years. The next gen might not be as open to that conversation because they know that there's kind of this one side. So one thing we've done in our program is when we take families through a course on governance, which is really just fancy for how do we decide how to decide things, and we step them through this. We force them to have family meetings between our sessions. And in the first family meeting, we make sure that the CEO of the business does not run the meeting. So what we're doing is we're trying to take away the power from that person who typically holds all of it. So in a smaller family business, maybe it's first, second generation, that CEO is in charge of the family, the business, and the ownership. So what we're trying to do is build some leadership development, maybe in someone in the next generation, but also for that CEO to take a step and slow down a little bit. So, and then we can rotate through who's going to run the meeting each time. But that's just one tool to try and level the playing field a little bit. But then to also, if things are going to be hot button issues, to really try to find somebody from the outside that can come in. And there are different business psychologists and family therapist people that can help with this, because the last thing you want is for the business to ruin the family. And again,